Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my baggage droppers around the world, welcome to another episode of the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope, and show you a technique that can help you cope. I am your host, the self-talk engineer, Charles Woolfork. If you are listening to this podcast right now, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or a podcast platform especially. Give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Now, today, I have a legend in the making in my eyes for sure. Right here is Quinton Townes. Now, Quinton is from Chicago, but moved from Chicago to Atlanta when he was in 5th grade. And then he moved to LA in 2014 and started releasing music. Now he has his record label, Hometown Entertainment, and he has spit bars with Toby Wingwe and Jadakiss himself. He is pivoting now and including the wisdom of God in his music. He is a big supporter of people and their passion, a reader and constantly seeking knowledge, and has a passion for discipleship. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Quinton Townes. What's up, Quinton?
Man, that was a hell of an intro, man. I like that. I love that intro. Thank you.
Bro, you need you need an MC. You know what I mean? Not like an MC, not like you, but like somebody to host. I got you.
Hey, I know who to hit up whenever I need no intro. Hit up.
Hey, bro, your journey is so dope, man, and I'm excited for the people out there to hear about your journey and your passion and how you got involved with music and everything, man. So just go for it. Let us hear it.
Man, my journey has been a nice journey. Like just looking back on it and just reflecting back on everything has been a nice journey. But like you said, I did start from humble beginnings. I came from Chicago, Illinois. Everybody knows about Chicago and how it tends to to lead the murder rate every year in homicides and things like that. And so, it's not always the best place to live, but at the same time, there is a lot of good that comes out of Chicago as well, like a lot of culture and, a lot of positivity that does come out of Chicago as well. So I feel like the good does balance out the bad. So at the same time, we can always take any type of negative situation and we can use that to our benefit so that we can learn from it and move forward. So when I was in Chicago, I was young and I just had to go through what I had to go through. I had my dad around and, I went through different things with my mom where my mom would end up in trouble sometimes. So, she wasn't always in my life. So I did deal with some type of abandonment issues in the past, just based on, not always having my mom around. But I did always have people around me that will always support me and, just make sure that I was well taken care of. So luckily I had that father figure that was always there. Mm-hmm. So I never had to worry about, just being alone or, not having that family type unit around me. So I am blessed to have always had that family type unit around me. So definitely. And Chicago is just a beautiful place. That's home to me. Like no matter where I go in this world, Chicago will always be home to me. So no matter when I left, because I left at a pretty young age, but I still always consider Chicago home. So I was there from my younger days all the way up until about 5th grade, and then I moved to Atlanta. And then Atlanta, that was a different shift because I was coming from, basically being like the hood kid. And then I was basically dropped into the suburbs because we moved with my aunt, and my aunt stayed in Sandy Springs. Mm-hmm. And Sandy Springs is kind of like a suburban area. It's near downtown, but it's kind of like really a suburban area. Mm-hmm. So it was really the first time I had ever gone to school with white people. So it was the first time I had ever gone to school with white people and like other different cultures too. So it wasn't just white people. It was like Brazilian people, like people from the Middle East. So it was a mix of different cultures. And so it was definitely a transition coming from being that kid straight up out the hood. Like, hey, I'm ready for anything that happened. I'm ready for it. And then you make that transition to where like, okay, now it's a more calmer place. How do you transition into that? So even when I went to Chicago, even when I went to Atlanta, I would still get into a lot of trouble because I always had that short fuse. So, even though I wanted to be like a happy kid and I always been like a supportive person, like, welcoming to everybody, but it was like people, for some reason, people would target me and then just like try me for some reason. And just based on how I came up, it was like, nah, don't ever let nobody try you. So if anything happened, then you got to make sure you stand up for yourself. Like that was really what it was about, like making sure at least you stood up for yourself. If anybody comes at you in that type of way, then you got to stand up for yourself. So I would take that like very, very to the heart. So as soon as somebody struck a certain type of nerve, then it was like, okay, now, now I got to make sure I'm cutting this thing off right now. So I traveled through life with that, with that mindset for a really long time, feeling like I really needed to respond to my environment in, that type of way. So, I mean, but a lot of good, a lot of happiness did come out of it. So I'm not going to act like just because I came from Chicago and then went to Atlanta and I went through struggles and things like that, I'm not going to act like I never had any happiness or I never had good things happening in life and things like that. Even when you grow up and you're around a lot of crime and a lot of drugs and things like that, because that was what I was around when I was really young, a lot of crime and a lot of drugs, even when you come from that, then there's still good things to take out of it. Like, no matter what situation that we are in, I feel like there's always good things that we can take out of it. There's always some way for the bad to be balanced out with some type of positivity, with some type of good. So, I consider my past a great blessing because it taught me all of the lessons that I needed to learn to be who I am today. And I speak that same thing to other people, to like when they're going through certain situations, that it's best to view it in that way. Like, okay, this is not a situation that's happening to me. It's actually a situation that's happening for me, so I can be molded and I can persevere from this, so I can succeed out of this, so I can learn the lesson that I need to learn so that I can make the changes that I need to make and be a better person, a more prosperous person.
Amen.
So yeah. And just like Atlanta is a dope place. I would say Atlanta is a dope place. A lot of culture comes out of Atlanta. And when I was in Atlanta, the thing that kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way was the fact that the time that I was there, the music was not really going in the direction to where I wanted to go in. It was basically all trap music. Like everything was trap music. And they would have the occasional dance song where it's like, hey, dance to this. But for the most part, it was just like trap music. And then I like auto tune. I'm just like, okay, man, I just get tired of hearing the same thing. And as I did music in Atlanta, it was like I had no real there was nothing in me that said, okay, now I gotta make sure that I release this music. Because it was like I didn't feel like it would be accepted and welcome, because as I shot my music out to people, I would never get any type of responses whatsoever. And I'm just like, I would feel like I went so hard on the track. Yeah. And then I let people hear it, and be like, yeah. And they'd always be like, yeah, you should do it like this. You should do it like this. You should do it like this. And I'm just like, but I'm doing it like this. Why does everybody want me to do it like this?
Right.
Or why does everybody like, yeah, you heard this, you should do it like that. And it's like, nah, I don't think, I don't know if this is the right environment for me musically.
Yeah.
So, and that mixed with a lot of other adversities that I was going through at the time. I was facing homelessness at the time. And so I was just really looking for a way out of the situation that I was in. And, my mom, me and her were like we were getting on good terms at the time. And she was living in LA, and she said, hey, come out to LA. There's a lot of opportunities out here. So, I think that with what you do with your music and everything, that you can come out here and that you can make a way for yourself. And so I weighed my options. I sat on the idea for the longest. And even though I knew it was a good idea, I'm like, it's LA. Like, come on. Of course it's a good move or whatever, but it was just something inside of me that was just holding me back. And I didn't even know what it was. It was just like, what is really holding me back? And now when I look back on it, it was really just fear.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about, fear of the unknown, and it's like, okay, what's gonna happen when I we're like when we get in those situations, then we start thinking about, okay, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? And sometimes we kind of psych ourselves out of things that we really want to do just because we're trying to plan out the whole thing beforehand. When a lot of times all we really need to do is just make a decision and move, make a decision, stick with it, and then just move. So that was what I did, even though I did have people that were trying to get me to stay in Atlanta. And I was like, nah, because I did almost stay just because I had an ex that I was really into that invited me to come and stay with her. She was like, yeah, just come and stay with me, get back on your feet, and then you'll be straight. And I was like, those were my two options at the time. And then I was just like, what option is really going to be better for me? Which one am I going to feel the best about? And then I was like, all right, I'm going to LA. so came out to LA, completely struggled. The only thing that I had to my name when I came to LA was my car and everything that I could fit in my car. And it was like a two-door Honda Accord.
Oh man.
So it was all that I had to my name was my car and everything I could fit in my car. So I came out, and then I was just staying in hotels, staying in my car and stuff like that. And I was just trying to make a way for myself, just like basically from the bottom up. Like I was just trying to make a way for myself, find any type of way to, gain income so that I could, get a stable place to live and, start from there. So I ended up working at the airport, which was really turned out to be really good for me because I didn't realize that I would be able to meet so many different type of people working at the airport. Like Debo from Friday. Yeah, I met Debo at the airport because he was trying to get on his flight, and he didn't want to wait in line or nothing like that. And I was one of the people that let people up into like the flagship area or whatever. And so I guess he hadn't paid for it or nothing like that, but he's still, he's wanting that 5-star service because he walked straight up to me and he was just like, hey, this is what I need. I need to get on this flight. I'm not trying to deal with all of this. I'm not trying to wait. And then I was just like, well, I'm gonna help him. He gave me like a $20 tip or something like that, but that was all afterward. I was just really just like, all right, well, I'm gonna help him. He seemed like he know what type of treatment he should get when he get to the airport. So I'm gonna just accommodate him.
That is awesome. I got a question for that after. Keep going, bro.
So yeah, so I met Debo, but that actually wasn't the first time I met him because I actually stayed in the neighborhood with him in Sandy Springs, but we never met face to face. But that was when I first knew that I was in the same vicinity as him.
Did you know it was Debo though?
I knew it was Debo.
Okay.
The funny thing about it was I knew it was Debo because he always walked this little chihuahua, and I always felt like it was weird seeing this big, huge dude with this little itty bitty dog. It's the weirdest sight especially when you're looking at it from a balcony and you just see him walking this dog. It's like, why does this picture look so weird to me?
By the way, shout out to Tommy Tiny Lister.
Yeah,
and rest in peace, Tommy Tiny Lister. By the way.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man, though. He's the man, and he's a cool dude. Like his personality is completely different from what we know him for on TV, like Debo and stuff like that. His personality is more attuned to the name Tiny. Yeah. So he's completely the opposite of the image that he portrays on TV.
He did it well though.
Definitely. And other people that I ended up meeting at the airport, I met Halle Berry. So, but that was more like a pass by, but it was like, whoa, that's Halle Berry. Like, and Halle, when she gets to the airport, she's trench coated up to like, nobody even know who she is. She like, and then she goes on her plane basically without speaking to nobody. So Halle's one of those real private people. So, that was still cool just to be in the same vicinity and be like, dang, that's Halle Berry. Like, I just opened the door for her.
Oh man, going to LA where you see the stars. That's awesome.
Exactly. You see the stars. Definitely the stars come out in LA. And another person, you know, RIP, that I was able to really meet and that really did cause a huge impact on my life is the late great Mac Miller. So, you know, RIP to the late great Mac Miller, because his music has really had a big impact on my life. And just, you know, spiritually, I've always resonated with his music and just how deep his music is and just the subject matter behind the things that he talked about. Yeah. So I've always resonated with his music. So when he did pass away, that really did affect me. And I was just like, man, I felt like one of my friends had passed away. Like really, I really felt it to the core. Real because tough. When I met him at the airport, he was just such a cool dude. And because the situation is so funny, because I was just standing there like as one of the people that's like just letting people into a certain area. And I happened to see him walk in with his entourage, and they just like, you know, they got a whole vibe and everything. They rapping and everything, just like walking through the airport, just beatboxing and rapping and stuff.
Yeah.
And that whole energy to me was just like, oh man, that's dope. And I'm like, that's Mac Miller. That's Mac Miller. It just so happened that like he checked in for his flight or whatever, and then he walked outside just to chill out for a while. And then it just so happened that the person came to relieve me from my break right at that same point. And so I walk outside to go to the same area I always go to for my break. I just walk right out the door, and then I see them out there doing the same thing. They just like in the circle doing, basically having like a cipher.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, this is dope as I don't know what. So I move in close so I can hear and everything like that. So I'm just getting into it. And then I just waited for the right moment. And then I was just like, hold on, let me spit something. And then I just started spitting. And everybody just like was rocking with me. And then Mac was rocking with me too. He like, oh man, like really going with me. And I was done. He was asking me, he was like, yo, that was dope. Like, where's your music? Where can I find your music? And at this point, I had no music out. Like I had never dropped a song or nothing like that.
Yeah.
And so that point was really when I was just like, I have to release music, because I like a person that I considered basically, you know, a role model for me just asked me like, where is my music at? And I had nothing, no link to send them to. I had nothing whatsoever. So I was just like, man, that had to change. Soon as I was put in that situation, I was like, no, this has to change. But that was really the first time that I really felt like people wanted to hear my music. Before then, it was like the responses I would get from like either rapping or playing my music was just so bland that it was like, well, it was like, who's my audience gonna be? But that really like gave me that confidence to know like, yeah, there is really people out here that like the people that I resonate with, they resonate with me. So that's the type of people that I need to be making music for.
Hell yeah.
After that point, I started releasing music, and you know, it's really just been history from there. But it really me releasing music really did start from me meeting Mac Miller and him asking me where's my music, and me not having nowhere to send it.
Wow. Okay. Hey, that is phenomenal. Yeah. Like, wow, I didn't even know that part of the story. That's pretty cool that like somebody that you looked up to like actually wanted to hear more of what you had to offer, and that kind of regret or you not being in the right position at the right place at the right time, kind of like where it all kind of crumbled down, and you know, it got you to take action. It got you to get another uncomfortable situation and start releasing that music.
Exactly.
Yo,
so it was amazing, honestly. And not that long after that, I was able to leave the airport, you know, through the graces of God. Like when I left the airport, I actually had another job, and this was one of the first times that I didn't get fired or quit a job without having another job. So, you know, all through the grace of God, I was able to transition out of that job into another job and just, you know, kind of, you know, just level up until I really got to a point where I was just like, okay, I'm not trying to work for other people no more. But it's all a process. And like, as I look back on the journey and I like put things together, I was just like, yo, I was thinking that things were happening to me. I was thinking like, yo, my life is not really that good. Things keep happening to me. I'm not able to support myself. But it, like, looking back on it now, I'm like, yo, these were really all things that were really working for me. So I can I can level up. I can change the way that I'm thinking, change the things that I'm doing so that I can level up. And it's just crazy just how destiny and fate just works out.
100%. You just unknowingly said the same thing that Tony Robbins says all the time. You familiar with Tony Robbins?
I'm familiar with Tony Robbins, but I haven't followed I haven't gotten on any of his meetings or anything like that.
No worries. So Tony Robbins, inspirational dude, right? Like has been blessed into millions upon millions of people, and he always says that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And you just picked up that mentality just off of intuition and wisdom. Good for you, bro.
Thank you.
Hell
and
yeah.
I feel like that's something that a lot of people should learn earlier on. Like, I wish I had learned it earlier on, just so I would view life in a different way and just view life in a more positive way, a way that would actually make me happy. Because leading up until I was actually able to stop working for other people, I wasn't happy, and I wasn't happy because I wasn't doing the things that I really wanted to do. I wasn't following the inklings that I was really feeling deep inside of me, is saying, hey, do this is what's going to make you happy, do this. And I wasn't following that because I didn't have the mindset to say, hey, this could really work out for me. I would get those inklings, and then I would immediately think, oh, that's not going to work out for me. That's not going to be a good way for me. Like, people not really going to want to hear me. Like, what they going to really want to hear from me? But that's all things that keep us low and keep us, not going in the direction that we should really go in. Because what I've learned is just the mere fact that, we had the inkling in the first place, it really proves that it is for us. If you have an inkling that you want to do something that's for the good and that's going to benefit yourself, it's going to benefit other people around you as well. Like, just the mere fact that you even had that thought and you had that idea, it proves that is for you. And that's something that you're meant to step into.
Wow. So you taking that calling from the creator and just running with it.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. All right. There's a bunch of questions that I want to ask you, but we have such a finite time. We might have to divide this up into 2 sections as well. No worries. Okay, so when you were in Atlanta, what was the thing that made you stay on track with having your own original style?
The thing that made me stay on track with having my own original style was the fact that what I had heard wasn't matching up to what I was hearing. So basically, I had an idea of what I wanted to be, because I grew up and I always heavily resonated with Nas. And so, if I feel like there was a beginning of hip hop for me, then it would have to be when Nas stepped onto the scene and Nas started bringing that different energy. And I didn't even realize what different energy that he was bringing. But now looking back on it, I'm realizing that he talks about God more. And I didn't even realize it. I was just, always attracted to his music. And I was just like, man, he's just so real. Like, everything, he speaks so real. And he was never ashamed to, have that positivity and also, still speak about his life. Because a lot of times when you're a hip hop artist, you feel like you need to basically do what other people do. Oh, this person was successful talking about that. Well, let me talk about the same thing. If everybody is talking about drugs and violence, then why don't I just talk about drugs and violence? It's super duper easy to go down that route and be like, okay, well, I'm making music for other people, I'm making music for the public, then why shouldn't I change myself to make the music that they want to hear? But at the same time, is how do you do that and still be you? If you're simply just making whatever people want to hear, then how do you incorporate yourself into that? And I felt like Nas had that perfect balance of, just the positive and the negative. Like, he would talk about his life, talk about being in the hood, which is what I knew about, just being in the hood, doing through stuff in the hood. But he would always spin it in a way to where it was some type of positivity that came out of it. And that was the thing that I felt like was different about his music than every other type of music. And I feel like that was the thing with other artists in that time, but it was just Nas that really stuck out to me, because there were other artists, most of them are from New York, but there were other artists around that same time that were really speaking positively through the music and things like that. But around the time that I was in Atlanta, music was very, very negative, very negative. It's just trap music, dealing drugs, robberies, killings, and stuff like that. And I just didn't feel like it was me. So I never felt good doing the same thing that other people did, because I would always get to the point where I feel like this is not really me. And then once I feel like that, then I start to dislike what I'm doing. And so that was a constant thing that I dealt with as well, because we'll get caught up into things, and then we won't even realize that we're going in a different direction because we're being influenced by other people. And then you get so far down this road, and then you realize, like, I don't actually like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So now what do you do?
Right. You feel lost. You like, man, like J. Cole says it, like he says, congratulations, man, you came a long way, but the bad thing is that you went the wrong way.
Ooh, that's a deep one. That's a deep one.
Yeah, shout out to J. Cole.
That's how it happens.
Okay, so how did you change your self-talk or your internal conversation? I mean, you said that, you had these fears and they would tell you not to do certain things within your music in LA, but you said, you didn't listen to those fears, and you kind of changed that internal conversation and that self-talk, and you skimmed over it. But like somebody out there maybe needs to change that conversation within their mind. What did you do specifically?
Specifically to change the self-talk in my mind, I really just had to completely change my perception of the way that I was looking at the world. Because like I said, I was looking at the world as like something that was happening to me that I needed to respond to. But it was really me switching my perception to being like, okay, these are not things that are happening to me that I need to respond to. They're things that are happening for me that I need to adjust to, so that I can, put myself in the situation to get to the next level. So it is definitely a process, but it's really a mindset thing. And when it comes to positive talk, at first it's gonna feel so weird to like really talk yourself up, because it feels like you're being conceited, and it feels like you really just amping yourself up. But no, that's really what we need. We need to really tell ourselves how great we are, because we are made in the image of the Creator. And I feel like if we think about the fact that we are made in the image of the Creator and we are all made to be great, then we can shift our perception to being like, okay, that's like the way that I was viewing life is completely wrong. Like now I know that everything is just a test for me to get to the next level. It's just me being taught this lesson. And if I don't learn the lesson, then it's going to keep being taught to me over and over and over. It's like school. Basically, we're going through life in the same way that we would go through school. It's like, if you don't learn what you're supposed to learn in a certain grade, then you're not going to pass that grade. You're going to be stuck in that grade. You're going to have to repeat that grade. And that's exactly what we're going through in life with the Creator. We're being faced with the same obstacles over and over and over and over and over until we overcome them. So when it comes to like negative self-talk, it's like you're going to keep having that same negative self-talk until you make the decision. And it really is a decision to say, no, I'm not going to think like this anymore. I'm not going to talk myself down. And we have to really be careful about how we talk about ourselves and how we think about ourselves, because it's very easy to, say something negative about yourself. And then once that gets into your subconscious mind, then it's like that becomes your life. That becomes your reality. So, our whole thing, I feel like if we think about it in a way that we have to train our subconscious mind to be exactly exactly the way that we want it to work, and and fill our subconscious mind with the vision that we see ourselves as in the future, like our ultimate self, like where you think about what is you at your greatest point, and then it's like you just amp yourself up. Like, no, I don't have to wait to be that person. Like, I'm that person right now. So why don't I just be that person and walk in that? And that completely changes everything. It completely changes everything.
You just broke down the law of attraction and manifestation, and like getting rid of negative self-talk and just everything. Like like you don't have to rap to drop bars. Look at you, right? That is amazing right there. You sure you don't want to host a Drop Your Baggage podcast? I could give you like everything.
I have to do a little co-hosting type thing, man.
I know that's right. Hey, so little be known that, I mean, for some of those out there, they don't know that you shared the video with Jadakiss and Toby. So with like, how did you manifest these things?
Man, that was actually so crazy because I didn't even know that I was manifesting it, but that was complete manifestation at work because a friend of mine, like that I met in LA, he's a director, he's a video director. So I did a video with him. His name is Christian Wadey. So he's actually a really big director now in the LA area. Like he has a real big name behind him, and he does a lot of work with Kanye West now. So I still have contact with him, and he just happened to send me something that had to do with Jadakiss. And I was like, he sent it to me in my inbox on like Facebook or Instagram or something like that. And so as I get this, I'm just like, okay, it was about a contest. Yeah, it was about a contest that Jadakiss was running. Right. And then as soon as I got it, I was just like, well, I entered the contest. So I was like, I'm just enter this contest and see what's up. Like basically is where you submit your music to Jadakiss, and then Jadakiss, he gives you like his response. He'll rate your music, give you his response. And so I'm just like, I had just dropped a song. I think that was when I had first dropped No Games. So that was the first real song that I like really, really dropped on all major platforms. So that was when I first dropped No Games. And then I submitted it to him, and by my surprise, he responded back and was like, "Yo, that was dope. Like, yo, you really got something. And if you keep working on your craft, then you're gonna be able to get some shows." He was like, "Once this COVID thing clears up, like you're gonna be able to get some shows, and you're gonna go far." And I was just like, "What?" Like, Jadakiss just really told me this.
He just co-signed you right there, yo, right here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast. Y'all heard it first. Jadakiss just co-signed my man Quinton right here. He's gonna make it. I told you, legend in the making, yo.
That like stuff like that, it really does something for your confidence, because it's like, what, like it lets you know what's really possible when other people come to you and tell you like, hey, this is what's really possible for you, like this is the direction you going in. I'm like okay, like, so from that, like it really what I took from that was just confidence. It was just straight up confidence. And so from that, I started entering into different other things and just doing different other things. And I ended up downloading the Bars app, because I seen that there was this new app out that basically lets you collaborate with other people, like on video, so that you can rap with other people. And when I first heard about it, I was still in my negative self-talk, so I just kind of skipped over it or whatever. I was just like, oh, I mean, that seemed kind of cool. But then the same ad kept getting sent to me again. Like, over time, I started realizing like, yo, this is really dope. Like this is something that's pretty dope. You can just download this app and get free beats, and then you can just rap with other people over these free beats. Like, wow. Like how could you lose off that? Like,
exactly.
Because as an artist, what I've learned, one of the biggest and hardest things as an artist is really finding beats and finding people finding producers to collaborate with, and then forming those relationships and then forming those agreements to where you can really like consistently release music and have all the beats you need to release music, other than just going on, YouTube or whatever and getting free beats that way, because it's limited what you can do with the beats that way. So to me, that's like, over time, I started viewing that as like a huge opportunity. I'm like, yo, this is like really a huge opportunity right here, because I'm looking for beats. Like, I'm looking for people to give me beats and stuff like that. And at the time, I didn't have the money to where I felt like I could just be buying beats like that. And so I was like, yo, this is really a huge opportunity. So I download the app. And then I get on the app, and then one of the first things I see is Jadakiss. And I was like, oh shoot, I can rap with Jadakiss. I was like, what? I was blown away. I was like, that was the first thing that I seen. As soon as I got on the app, I was like, I can rap with Jadakiss. And I was like, man, that's been my dream, because I've always liked Jadakiss too, because like same time, like I've always been in the Nas, I've always been in the Jadakiss. So I was just like, yo, I jumped on it right then. As soon as I seen the opportunity, I jumped on it right then. And then me and him, we did the video. And then like everybody just started going crazy. Like it just, I felt like I could feel the energy of other people when they watched the video, and they just like,
because
he rapping with Jadakiss.
Did you do 2 videos?
Yeah, I did 2 videos with
Jada. Bro.
Yeah.
You killed it too.
And they both like, even now, I still go back and I listen to it. I'm just like, oh man, it was so hard.
Yeah.
And I feel like honestly, it's just God, it's just the creator just working through me, because even when I listen to those, and I'm just like, man, if it wasn't for the fact that I have surrendered to the creator and said, hey, take control of my life, with my life, what you see fit, then I wouldn't be able to spit those type of bars, because back in the day, I was spitting bars, but nobody really felt like I was talking about nothing. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm feeling like I'm going so hard and going so deep into stuff.
Yeah.
Like people not really responding like they feel like I'm talking about nothing. And I'm just like, and once I started really incorporating God and incorporating the creator, and like just surrendered completely to the creator and said, hey, do with me what you wish, and anything and everything, just do with me what you wish. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really started to get the responses that I had always been waiting for, which is like people like, hey, you went hard on that. Like, yo, that was crazy. That was crazy. Because now I actually have something to talk about. Like, and God gives me that. God gives me like unlimited topics to talk about. And of course I give the glory back to him. So it's like, it works. It works perfectly.
Would you say that your content would be similar, not style, but content would be similar to Lecrae?
What's Lecrae?
Lecrae is also a Christian rapper. Check him out. Not a Christian rapper, but a rapper that gives glory to God. Check him out. He's a good one. Okay. I'll send you his mixtape on that Piff. Oh my gosh. I'll send you his mixtape, because that man right there is fire. Let me see if I can look it up real quick, because one of the ones that kind of like really got me into listening to that type of content, where
like faith-based rap.
Exactly. Church Clothes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Oh, amazing.
Hey, I'm gonna have to listen to Lecrae. Volume 1 and 2. All right.
Oh my gosh.
After we get off of this.
Maybe, man, it's amazing. Bruh, so where did this faith come from in the creator? Where did it come from?
Man, I feel like the creator has been speaking to me ever since a very young age. And I just wasn't open to it, because I grew up to where my family kept us in the church. Like my grandma, I would spend a lot of time at my grandma's house, and my grandma's like most sanctified person ever. Like in our whole family, like either my dad's side or my mom's side, everybody knows my dad's mom to be the most sanctified woman ever. Like people will not even go around her and drink a sip of alcohol, because they like, no, she's so sanctified that we can't even do that.
Wait, what does sanctified mean, by the way?
Like basically she's just saved. Like she's in the church every day. She's at church like all throughout the week. She don't just go to church on Sunday. She'll go to church on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like she will be in the church almost every day of the week.
Wow.
Like this is a saved woman.
Sanctified on the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it says to set apart to a sacred purpose or to religious use, to free from sin. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So basically, we saw her as the person that just like didn't sin at all. Like but she's that one person. But she'll whoop you though. She'll whoop you.
That's awesome.
But are we good?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Right.
So you were in the church as a kid. You weren't able to hear the message. Keep going.
So yeah, I wasn't really hearing the message, because it didn't match up to what I felt like life was. Like I would go to church, I would hear the things at church, and then of course I leave out of church, and it's like chaos. We still in the hood and stuff like that. So, but the thing about it that I always remember is when I went to church, is like the Holy Spirit always found some type of way to really touch me while I was there. And I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that like sometimes when I would hear the word, and I would just like start tearing up, like, and I would just feel something inside me, and I would just like, I would be, of course, I'm trying to be tough about it and stuff like that. So I'm just like, no, I ain't crying. Like, I ain't crying right now. Like, what's going on? So I would like brush it off. And it was really once I started to embrace that feeling that I started being a whole lot more happy. And I didn't even realize that I was embracing it. But the message started to get more clear to me as I got more into spirituality. So until I really got into spirituality, the word of God and everything like that, it did not resonate with me at all. I would read stories in the Bible and I would not be able to relate them to my life whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got more into spirituality, then I was able to catch that message. And I feel like God, the creator, took me into a route that was like not so preferable in his eyes so that he could get me to see, the right and wrong. Because when I really started getting more into spirituality, I started to do this through basically through tarot. So, and I was, for some reason, like me learning about like different types of people and things like that, it kind of like happened around the same time that I started hearing about tarot. Mm-hmm. So as we spoke about, I started to really recognize what was going on in my life, like basically about the same situations being thrown at me when I was started to realize that I was dealing with narcissists. So I didn't know anything about narcissism or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to learn about narcissism because I kept hearing the word come up on tarot videos, even though I didn't watch tarot videos for a long time because they kept coming up on my feed on YouTube. But there was something in me that was like, well, doesn't the Bible say that like it's not really good to, be in tarot and stuff like that? So I would ignore them, but they would just kept coming up. And like, for some reason, I felt like the captions were like speaking to me like directly in mm-hmm. whatever I was going through in my life. And so I ended up just watching them. I started clicking them and watching them. And I started hearing about narcissists and stuff like that. And I was like, let me look this up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I started realizing that I was being, oppressed, that I was dealing with people. I was keeping people around me that were oppressing me. And I was basically, I had a lot of narcissists around me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so that was really when I started to get more in my spirituality and realized that I was actually a very spiritual person and that I had the ability to like communicate with people telepathically. But that's a whole different type of thing. But I just started to realize that I am a very spiritual person, but I had never, ever, ever realized it. And just a very empathetic person, which is why I'm able to feel other people's emotions. Like, as soon as somebody like does something, like I'm able to feel their emotions. Mm-hmm. Like, and I never realized that until I started getting more into my spirituality. So I feel like God, the creator, he took me in a specific route for me to learn about spirituality so that he could bring me back and say, hey, but even though all of this stuff is available to you, you don't need none of this stuff because you have me. I am the creator. I created all of this. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is communicate with me. You don't have to worry about none of this other stuff. You don't have to worry about narcissists. You don't have to worry about, tarot, because I was dabbling in tarot. Basically, I didn't realize that I was doing it out of fear because mm-hmm. I was trying to control the type of relationships that were coming toward me. And mm-hmm. I was because I was in fear that people were, out to get me. Like, oh yeah, this person, they in your face and they being nice to you and everything like that, but really they're out to get you. And I'm like, okay, let me make sure I stay in the tarot so that I can know, what type of energy is coming toward me, what type of energy people are bringing. And honestly, all it really did was just bring me more fear.
Right.
It just made me fear more. Like, okay, how do I need to control this? How do I need to control that? It's like, nah, like it started to get overwhelming after a while.
Yo, it's crazy how the universe unfolds and gives you these like different messages from the creator like that. Because like, no matter where a message comes from, it all needs to be appreciated. So, I've had tarot readings before and, somebody has also did an astronomy reading on me. And yet I've gotten some different signs to just have more faith in myself and have more faith in the creator, in the universe, that everything's going to unfold perfectly. And also everything's going to unfold in my favor. So for you to have these tarot cards that kind of show you that things aren't happening to you, but they're happening for you. And for also it to show you that you don't need anything else but God, which is also within you as well. Like, Jesus, I used to be a Christian, so I know that Jesus said to pray from God and not to God. So, God has to come through you. You know what I mean? He's gonna he can come to you with you meditating and listening, but also he has to come through you with that power of love, which is the highest frequency you can emit. Yeah. It's so interesting that time after time you've had this internal dialogue, and the tarot cards help that, but it's only kind of like the new, to where it's like, guiding you to kind of like whatever perception that you want in other words, you know what I mean? Because people watch CNN because they want a perception. People watch Fox News because they want a perception. But after a while, you see that in the long run, it's just bringing you fear. So you get away from that fear and you trust in something, the Most High, if you will. That's absolutely. I mean, is that a good interpretation?
That's the perfect interpretation of it. Like perfect, like to the T. That's what it is. Exactly.
Yeah, dude, and that's so cool because it's funny that the Bible verse, and I might slaughter this, but it says that you can do all things through Christ, right? And it's the thing is, you have this trust and this faith in the Creator. However, in the long run, it gives you trust in yourself, because it's a principle. You know what I mean? It's a law, not even a principle. It's a law that if you ask, you shall receive. See, so with you asking something and knowing that you can do whatever that you need to do through Christ to get that thing, that's a confidence that you really can't match that type of confidence with anything else. It's like a higher power has your back, and with that higher power having your back and you asking for something and knowing that your words do not come back void, that your prayers are always answered, and that the answer from the universe is always yes. Yo, like that's a confidence it's ineffable. You can't even explain that type of thing. So for you to be stepping into your power and find your voice, to have your music be a part of your discipleship is very powerful, man. It's super powerful, bro. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's very rewarding as well, just to, really feel like I'm doing what I need to do to just make the Most High proud of me, and just like bringing people onto him and just making sure I'm spreading the light, because it's a lot of darkness in the world, but at the end of the day, light always overcomes the darkness. So
however, no matter what, I think that as long as you continue to do your best and emit that frequency of love, because I think in the book of John, it says that God is love.
Oh, right? Definitely.
God is love. So as long as you commit to emit that high frequency of love, then what other, and then you're showing him, you're showing the Creator through you. You see, like there's no other option than for God to just always say, well done.
And that's what I look for, is just those signs from God, just let me know, like, hey, you on the right track, you doing right, like, hey, giving me that nod, like, yep. I get that when I look back on the videos, like with Jadakiss and Toby. Like I look back on that stuff and I'm just like, honestly, I was looking at it and I was just like, I was wowed myself. I wowed myself, and I was like, I was talking to myself. I was talking to God. I was like, Lord, you did that? You really did that? Like this is not even the next day after I did the videos. I was just like, you really did that, Lord. Like that was really me. That's really me. Yeah. You working for me like that. And I was just so wild.
Yeah. And that last part, you said that he worked through you, because you still did it. It was just that he worked through you.
Exactly.
You see, like I believe, you know what I mean, and it's quite controversial to some Christians, so excuse me, but like I believe that we are God. Just as much as this fingernail is a part of me, I am a part of the Creator. You know what I mean? And he gives us these powers of manifestation through him. You know what I mean? Like you just talked about manifesting that with Jadakiss. So like you are that. You are everything that he is. You know what I mean? Like you come from him. Like with the Bible, it says that, he created everything else, and he created man, and then he took a break. You know what I mean? But like,
I'll handle this. I'm gonna just make sure everything work out.
But it's like, what else could God make it out of except like himself, that love, that amazing frequency, you know what I mean? The highest of all high. So like, man, just like knowing that you are, the creator and manifestation, the divine expression of the creator, if you will.
Exactly.
Creator
of our own reality.
Yes, exactly. Through him. It's amazing.
No, it's a dope feeling, man. It's like it's the ultimate level of happiness. So if anybody is going through life and they looking for happiness, they looking for fulfillment, then that's I recommend just finding a way to communicate with the creator and say, hey, work through me, do your works through me. That is when it happens, it's the ultimate level of happiness.
Mm-hmm. And the best way to do that is to give, in my opinion, and what I've seen and why I've been so blessed is that you can distribute that love as much as possible when you give from the bottom of your heart without expecting anything back. When you just give, man, and give with all your heart, right? Like, and another law is when you give,
it comes back.
You shall receive. You know what I mean?
Right back, like tenfold, hundredfold.
Exactly. So for anybody out there, like you said, communicate with the creator, and when you're ready, start to give whatever you can. Give your time, give your energy. If you got good energy, go out there and give a smile. Go out there to a homeless shelter or a food bank. Give like that. Like there's a lot of people out there that are looking for volunteers, COVID permitting. Please go out there and do right, and like so many blessings will come your way. Real talk.
Exactly. I second that.
So right here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope, and show you a technique that can help you cope. Today, we're going to be doing a guided meditation called mental and emotional release. Super simple, super easy. And we're going to be releasing the fear of rejection. Now, can you go ahead and elaborate, tell the audience what you told me earlier about your experience with the fear of rejection?
So my whole thing with fear of rejection, I feel like that's been an ongoing thing that is like just traveled with me through my entire life, and it affects it has affected the way that I respond to situations and the way that I really stand up in my true power in situations. So I feel like at every turn there's always that thought of like, okay, how are people going to receive this? Are they going to reject me? Like, are they going to accept me? Are they going to reject me? And it's just like one of those ongoing things that travels with me to where it affects how I respond to situations, and I have to constantly be conscious of it, and feel like and find a way to feel like I'm overcoming it.
Amen. With that fear of rejection, what's the trigger for it? Like, can you name a specific trigger?
A specific trigger? I would say that it has to do with like, energy and how I treat other people, because I'm just the type of person where I'm really open. I accept other people, and I genuinely treat other people the way that I want to be treated. So, if I get to a point where I feel like I'm not being treated the same way, then to me, that is rejection. So that is probably the trigger, is the point where I feel like I'm not receiving back what I'm giving out to people.
Okay. When it comes to the fear of rejection, how is it hindering you in your business and in your music?
When it comes to fear of rejection, I feel like that it definitely hinders the business and the music, just because it's always that lingering thought of like, how do you avoid it? Like, how do you avoid it? And the only way to really avoid it is to please other people. And of course, we don't want to be people pleasers. So
hell yeah.
So now that brings up a whole nother thing. So it's like how do you really kill the whole fear of rejection? That's one thing that I have that I feel like I have not found a way to completely just get rid of, and just completely be like, I haven't found that exact way where I know that I'm overcoming that fear of rejection whenever it comes up.
Hey man, I got you. When how much do you think that you've left any money on the table, or that you made any wrong moves because of the fear of rejection?
Oh, definitely. Just me being in, like, let's take it back to when I was in Atlanta and I was really starting to do my music. I'm sure that I didn't present my music to people because of the fear of rejection. It was like I already felt like, well, people they're not receptive to my music in the first place. So it's like, what's the point in me even going forward and releasing all of this stuff, because they not even giving me the reaction that I want. Now I know that was that fear of rejection. It was always coming up like, okay, well, why should I even do this? And I started to realize that even when I created music and I put it in the compilation, I got ready to release it, then that was the one thing that would just like come attack me, into where I would never release the music. Because I'm always thinking, well, how is this person going to think about me? How is that person going to think about me? This person that already knows me is this way, how are they going to think about me if they see me this way, and all this type of stuff. So it's like I was always, not doing things because I'm fearing being rejected by this person or that person or somebody.
Hey, oh man. Okay. When you think about that fear of rejection, where do you feel it in your body? If you think about different times right now in the past where you felt that fear of rejection, where do you feel it in your body?
I feel it in my heart, and sometimes I feel it in my gut, where it's like kind of like your gut will just drop. And it's like the same thing with your heart. It's like your heart will just kind of like tense up, like, oh, it did, or your gut will just drop, like, oh, okay, well, well, maybe I don't belong here, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, and you see that internal conversation. Maybe I don't belong here. Maybe this. Yeah. See,
that's how it starts. Like you get that feeling, and then it's like, it's like, how does your brain respond to that feeling?
Yeah, 100%. We're gonna go ahead and change that internal conversation that you're having.
So
with I got you, bro. So with this modality, all you got to do are three things to have a profound experience. Number one, you got to use your imagination. Number two, you got to follow directions just like you follow a good recipe or a Google Maps. And number three, you got to trust the process. Know that I'm your guide, and I'm coming, and know that I'm your guide, and I'll be leading you through this process easily and effortlessly. And I come from a place of love and high vibration. And also, we want to get rid of as many triggers as possible, so you won't be triggered to have that negative conversation. Every single memory that you go to, and I'll explain, and you'll know in a second what I'm talking about. But every single memory that you go to is a trigger that you are getting rid of. It's a major breakthrough that you're having. So I want you to go to as many memories as possible and have as many breakthroughs as possible. All right, cool.
Okay.
We're going to create your timeline. Now, with your timeline, your past can be to your left, to your right, or behind you. Now, if you were to know, where's your past?
Where's my past?
To your left, to your right, or behind you?
I say behind me.
Where's your future?
My future is in front of me.
Perfect. That's all. So let's go ahead and get into it. Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release this fear of rejection today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
100%.
What is the root cause of this problem? The first events, which when disconnected, that will cause this problem to disappear. If you were to know, when was the first time that you felt the fear of rejection between the ages of like birth and 7? How old were you?
I would say I was probably in like preschool. Like I was probably, I'd say I was in, the first time where I really can remember feeling that fear of rejection, it was probably in the 5th grade when I went to Atlanta.
Let's go back between birth and 7. So when you were in the 5th grade, you were about 10 years old. Let's go about 3 years prior to that.
All right, let's go back before that.
Yeah, when you're still in Chicago.
When I was still in Chicago, I'm trying to think of an exact point because I know it was there. Where was the rejection? Man, this is a hard one right here.
Do you remember what kindergarten school you went to?
I do not remember what kindergarten school I went to.
Do you remember where you lived when you were 5 years old?
When I was 5 years old, I lived. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I lived with my mom in the suburbs. That was when when my mom stayed in, I want to say, Bolingbrook or something like that. So when I went to Atlanta, actually wasn't the first time I was around different cultures. It was actually at that age when I did spend a little bit, when I did live with my mom and she lived in the suburbs.
Okay.
I do remember that. I do remember there was this girl there, this little white girl that I kind of had a crush on, and I knew she had a crush on me too. And when I asked her out, like, and she said no, it was like, huh? Like, what? So it was like, but I already know that we have this connection. I already know that we like each other.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, when I asked her out, it was like no, and it was so confusing to me because it was like, well, we basically already together.
Yeah.
So how is it a no? So it immediately created that disconnect from where like my reality and my perceived reality, like my reality and my perceived reality, because it was like, okay, I perceive this situation as one where, you know, basically this is my girlfriend, but when I asked her to be my girlfriend, she says no.
Hey, man, that is a wonderful place to start right there. That sounds like the root cause. So we'll start there. All right. So with that, you can go ahead and close your eyes for this guided meditation. Keep them closed until I ask you to open them. Relax and let me know when you're ready for the process to drop your baggage.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Just imagine floating outside of your body and up above yourself, looking at yourself right here, right now, from a third person point of view. See your bed behind you and screen in front of you. See the stairs, your red jacket, your hat, your glasses. Let me know when you can see yourself from a third person point of view, like a fly on the wall.
Okay. I can see myself.
Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float behind you into the past and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past, above that first event in which you felt rejected when you were just a little kid in that school with that girl, and see yourself and her from a third person point of view. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
All right, now listen closely. As you see yourself hovering above that event, like a fly on the wall, just imagine sitting right there, and now just ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from the event, the learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learning so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there. Just tell your unconscious mind to preserve the learning. This is an exercise of forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness for yourself and others, and acceptance of yourself and others. Who do you have to forgive? What do you have to accept? Who do you have to accept? Be sure to see from that other little girl's perspective and communicate with that little girl. Have empathy and compassion for her, and have empathy and compassion for yourself, and focus your attention upon how you're a survivor. Hurt people hurt people. We're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. We can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser and learn from other people's actions and mistakes. Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. It's only a reflection of their baggage and whatever they're going through at the time. And we're better people than we were when those events occurred. You're a better person than you were when those events occurred. What is something positive and empowering you can tell yourself as that little boy and that little girl and everyone else involved in the event with the consciousness that you have today that will allow the emotions to evaporate like water on the concrete on a hot summer day? And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. Just let me know when they're all gone.
They're all gone.
Awesome. Now, with your eyes closed and you observing the event, tell me, what did you learn from the event?
I learned that things aren't always what they seem. And I learned that people don't always say how they really feel.
That's right. And what did you have to say to that little girl?
I had to say to her that I forgive her and that I love her and that I still feel the love that she gave me until this day.
That's awesome. What is something that you can take from that event into the future with you to make you a better person?
To appreciate the love and to not focus so much on the words that are coming out of people's mouth. I can focus on the actions that they're showing toward me, the love that they're showing toward me, and my appreciation toward it.
Amen. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float behind you into the past and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past, above the dinosaurs during the prehistoric age. Let me know when you're above the dinosaurs.
I'm above the dinosaurs.
Awesome. Now, as you're above the dinosaurs, just imagine floating deeper and deeper and deeper into space, to where space and the atmosphere connects. And imagine your timeline is the size of a fingernail. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Now, just imagine floating there in space, weightless, and ask yourself now, where are the emotions? Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now.
They've disappeared.
Awesome. Now, just imagine floating down inside the event. Seeing through your own eyes as a little boy and check on the emotions. Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now.
They've disappeared.
Awesome. Float back above the dinosaurs and then float into space to where space and the atmosphere connect. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
All right. Listen very closely. Float very, very high above your timeline, above each and every event in which you felt that fear of rejection, just like you did with that first event, and also just like you did with that first event. Preserve the learnings and let go of that fear of rejection all the way back to now. Go. Be sure to focus on as many events on your timeline as possible so you can release as many triggers as possible, have as many breakthroughs as possible. And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. Just let me know when they're all gone.
They're all gone.
Awesome. Slow down into your body and open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back.
Trip. That was a trip.
Oh man, how you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel amazing.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I feel full of love. Like I'm able to accept the love aspect of it and not focus on rejection, not focus on expecting anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like the rejection, it comes from expectation.
Ooh, yes, 100%. Expecting a certain outcome or a certain answer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's huge right there. Let's test it out and then let's get more into it. So can you remember a time in the past in which you used to feel that old emotion? And go back and notice if you can feel it, or you may find that you cannot.
I remember a time when I used to feel that old rejection.
Yeah. Now, can you still feel that old emotion?
Mm-mm.
Very good. You can't feel it in like your heart or your stomach anymore?
Mm-mm.
Mm. I want you to go out into the future, to an unspecified time in the future. Now, if the same thing would have happened in the past, you would have felt that fear of rejection, but it's the future now. So see if you can find that old emotion, or you may find that you cannot. Okay.
I can't find it.
Congratulations. You just released the fear of rejection.
That's crazy. I just feel love like from every direction. Like even as I view the old situations, like I just feel the love that I wasn't letting myself feel in those situations, because I was focusing on a certain outcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like, so describe this feeling of love.
It's just an amazing feeling that I feel when there's a person before me and they're smiling, they're enjoying my company, I'm enjoying their company, and we're just basking in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And yeah, so it's that feeling of just being with somebody that, like you said, that the energy of love. Like, I appreciate this person appreciates me, and you're just like sitting in it.
Yeah.
Very cool. What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned to help you release these negative this fear of rejection?
Is like you said, we like hurt people, and we don't always communicate what hurt us to people. When we're put in situations, we're not communicating, our standpoint or our, our perspective of things when we are in certain situations. So it's easy for the love to get lost in translation when you focus on other things other than just the love in that situation.
Yeah, 100%. Like you get caught up in your feeling and the things from your past, how you reacted to that little girl, you know what I mean, now gets carried on into something that happened 20 years later. Yeah. It's crazy how that works, how that one event, that first event is now like has the residue that can like make you feel rejected and keep you back from your greatness. Yeah.
It's crazy how one moment could really shape our whole reality if we let it.
So what's that internal conversation with yourself like now?
That internal conversation is just like it really just goes around appreciation for the moment. And just knowing that I don't need people's words per se to tell me how people feel, because they show me. If a person is in front of me and they're showing me love and they're showing me appreciation, I can just accept it as that.
Yeah.
I don't need anything other than that. There's no reason for me to make my mind go into like, so what's next? Yeah. So if you doing this for me, then, or if you feel this way, then what's the result? Because at the end of the day, the result really should just be the love, just, basking in the moment and enjoying moments and just feeling really good, just being happy.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. What if like somebody just like, hey, I don't like your music?
That's fine.
And does it like show that love?
Then it probably just wasn't for them, and they're on their level in their journey, because, the same way that I can listen to Nas today and I can hear like all of the things that I didn't hear way back in the day, and I can appreciate him so much more now for the artist that he was and that he evolved into today. I can appreciate all of that so much more now just because of my journey and like the things that have allowed me to shape my consciousness on my journey. So so it really could just it really just didn't resonate with them, or it's just not for them on their journey.
Yeah. Amen. Oh wow. Did you have this type of mindset before?
I didn't. I may have had like little pieces of it, but I never pieced it all. I never put it all together and had that perception of it.
Wow. So throughout the meditation, it was a shift in mindset right there to where now you're able to accept where not just where you are in your music career, but also where they are within their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Wow. Wow. What a shift. That's huge, bruh.
Yeah, it was a lot of thoughts that was going through, and I was just like, man, it's a lot of things came up, and I was just like, man, how I'm perceiving, how I'm letting my perception get the best of me,
Yeah.
and reacting to my perception.
Tell us about how seeing things from a third person point of view or seeing things from outside of yourself really affected the way that you perceive things.
It affects it in a huge way because it allows you to really feel, the other person's perspective. Because when we're right in front of somebody, we're really still only focused on our perception of how things are going on. But when you take that third person view and you really just step out of the whole situation and you just view the whole situation, then you can actually see that other person's perspective and like see how they're responded to you, how you responded to them, and just just appreciate it so much more. Like, it's just heavy appreciation that comes from you even taking that perspective, because it allows you to really just bask in that moment like all over again and really appreciate the things that you didn't appreciate in the first place.
Man, it sounds like a lot of high vibrations throughout that whole experience.
Definitely. That's why I was smiling. It just felt so much love, because like beforehand, when I would go back to that situation, it's like, oh, I felt the rejection. I felt the rejection, and I was, and through that rejection, I wasn't allowing myself to really feel that authentic love that she was showing me in those moments, because I remember all of those moments, but I wasn't allowing myself to really feel them, but just because I was so focused on the rejection, like, well, I was letting the rejection pretty much overshadow all of the love. So back, and I just feel like heavy love. I just think about it and just like a super high vibration. It's just, and now I wish I could go back to that situation, like in my physical body, and just like appreciate it again in that aspect.
Like that's what this exercise definitely does. It shows you like the things that you missed out on, but also it can give you appreciation for the now and how you can react to things right here in the now, that you don't have to react like you used to. But shout out to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He always talks about changing your personal reality of the past, so you then can change your personality of how you react to things in the future.
That's dope.
Yeah. So just think, like, that as far as the fear of rejection is concerned, though, like I said, every single memory is a trigger that you released. So how many triggers did you release? How many memories did you go to?
I went to a lot of memories, but majority of them was like they involve women, because that, for some reason, that's the rejection that sticks out to me like throughout life, is just rejection from women, because I realized that I was expecting so much in those situations, and I was always looking at the situation and creating expectation out of it. Like, okay, well, if this is the way you treat me now, then I would look at the way the person was treating me right then, and then I would form an expectation of how I wanted them to treat me, and how I wanted that to evolve into something else, and that I should not do that.
Well, it's kind of like the same. It's kind of like the same aspect, to where you can use the mindset that you have towards listeners to the women as well. Like, with your energy and her energy, it might buy, and you guys are meant to connect with each other for however long on the basis, but also the energy could be for a temporary moment in your journey, and that's okay too. I mean, I used to listen to 50 Cent and now I don't.
I'm trying to think if there was of other moments. Yeah, there were other moments that, like, other than women as well. So, but majority of them, they revolved around like rejection from women, just because those were the points where I would instantly expect something. As soon as I felt something, I would expect something.
Yeah. So how do you see yourself operating differently now, without this fear of rejection, or with this new mindset, this shift in your mindset?
I see myself just having better relationships with people in general, just because it's more of a, you know, a back and forth of energy rather than, okay, like getting to a point where I'm just blocking it and seeing like, okay, well, so what's next then? You know, I'm seeing it pretty much just like a back and forth, like a ping pong, like you playing ping pong back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just love and appreciation going back and forth between people. Like that's what I'm picturing in the relationships, where I'm not expecting anything from it, you know, and you know, and they're not expecting anything from it. We're just basking in the moment, and you know, whatever comes from that moment comes from that moment. Whatever feels come from it. But it's all positive. It's
Amen. Amen. Congratulations, bro. You are officially a baggage dropper.
Thank you for showing me, you know, how to drop it, because that was one of those things that I battled with, and I didn't feel like I had a full grasp over how to release it, and that definitely just helped me find a way to really release it, because like we spoke about earlier, I was still dealing with this up until, you know, last week when we spoke. So it was like, you know, even the day before we had spoken, it was like, yeah, that was still evident that this was going on. So now I know exactly how I can release that whenever I come to that situation.
Hell yeah. And what my hope is that you released all the triggers so you won't run up upon that situation anymore. To just go automatically to that new mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the moment, just bask in it, and, you know, just learn whatever lessons that are needed to be learned in that situation. Just appreciate it. Really, just appreciation. Just, man, I have so much appreciation for all of those moments now. And now it's like, I just wish that I could go back and appreciate them even more. And now I can take those lessons, and I can move forward, and I can appreciate the relationships I build in the future even more.
Amen. Hey, hell yeah. Good job, bro. Good job. Way to show up for your divine appointment.
Thank you. Yeah. It was a little bit of pressure, but, you know, hey, pressure makes diamonds.
Hey, exactly. Hey, were you thinking in the back of your mind, like, I hope I do this right?
Yeah, I was like, what if I'm not able to visualize myself? But it was like, as soon as I said that I could visualize myself, then it instantly happened. So
yeah, and you know, like I've had over 300 clients now, so like the operations part of the whole thing, the whole process, I got it down to a way to where I help people just do it so easily, you know what I mean? Because it's that the original way is not like that at all. You know what I mean? It's not like a lot of those words aren't said. So I'm glad that it worked out to where you could do it easily, and you gave and also congratulations to you, because you gave yourself permission to allow the process to be the process.
Thank you. I appreciate much appreciation.
Hell yeah. So 2 things I need from you, bro. Number 1, I need a word of wisdom. The last bit of word of wisdom from you, please.
Man, the word of wisdom, man. I always have to bring it back to God, and just let everybody know that God is the way, God is the truth, God is the light, God is the key to everything in life. So if we just find a way to communicate what we want, the way we view our life in positivity to the Creator, then it will be, the map will be guided to us. We will be like, the Lord will guide your steps and guide you to everything that is truly meant for you, and that truly makes you happy. And you just have to be receptive to it, and just, you know, learn the lessons along the way. Just start enjoying the process, and just connect more with the Lord, connect more with God, and everything that you want will be given to you.
Amen. And second of all, where can people like reach out to you or listen to your music?
All right, well, you can listen to my music. If anybody is on the Bars app, then they can communicate with me on there, because I'm heavily on the Bars app now. That's my social network of choice now, just because it embodies the whole music and video aspect. So they can reach out to me on there. Then my name is Q the Divine, so QTHE Divine, DIVINE. So Q the Divine. That's what I'm changing pretty much all of my social network handles to. So you can reach me on Q the Divine on Instagram, as well as on Facebook. As well as on the Bars app. And on Facebook, then you can reach me just by my name, by Quinton Townes, until I set up the Q the Divine page. So
Quinton, QUINTON Townes, Townes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And for the music, I also have music on all platforms under my former name, which is Q-Town. Then they can find my older music. So if they want to hear my new music, then they can get up with me on the Bars app. If they want to hear like my other music that's on all platforms under my name Q-Town, it is Q-TOWNE, and that's on all platforms. So you can check out No Games, you can check out King, and those are my singles.
I know what I'm going to be listening to tonight. Hey, Q, thank you so much for coming onto the show and showing up for your divine appointment, bro.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you all so much for your attention and your support. You know, if you listen to this, that I love each and every one of you guys so much. And right here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. I am your host, the self-talk engineer, Charles Woolfork, and my special guest today, Quinton Townes, or Q the Divine. And please consider hitting the like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or a podcast platform. And if you're on podcast, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself and take care of one another. Peace.